Hello and a very warm welcome to Game On. I'm your host Meha Bhardwaj Alter. Today on the show we discuss what India's Asia Cup squad should be like with former India coach Ravi Shastri giving his views on what India should do on some of the key issues like KL Rahul. Should he be drafted straight away for Asia Cup? Who should be India's number 4 and whether Tilak Varma should be in that squad. We tell you who Ravi thinks should be playing at number 4. We also will talk about the return of Jasprit Bumrah and how desperate India are to get him back. His performance in this Ireland T20Is. That'll give us some idea of where he is in terms of his match fitness. There's also the question of, like I said, KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer's fitness. So much so that the selectors now are waiting for them to play simulation matches at the NCA before they announce the squad by the 20th of August. Chetan Nirula and Jamie Alter, they are here with us to tell us how long should the selectors wait on KL Rahul's fitness? Should they wait a day before the Asia Cup maybe, just so that he can be fit and they can have him in the squad? Because clearly right now that has been delayed as the selectors try to figure out whether KL Rahul will be fit now. He wasn't fit when they announced the squad for Ireland, or else both him and Shreyas Iyer, both of them would have been there, but they're not there. They're waiting on them to get fit. So before I get to Chetan and to Jamie, with 14 days left for the Asia Cup, India are yet to announce their squad for the tournament. It's now being reported that the selectors are waiting for KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer to prove their match fitness at the NCA in Bengaluru. Guys, what do you think of that? First, let's get their reaction. This wait of trying to get KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer to be fit. Do they really think by waiting for 3 extra days, these two players will be fit? Let's begin with Chetan and then I'll come to Jamie.
Hi, Meha. It just shows the kind of, I really am grasping for words here. I mean, the kind of lack of preparation, lack of planning when you are waiting for Rahul and Iyer to pass preliminary fitness test so that you could include them in the Asia Cup. It just shows that the West Indies tour was really pointless, worthless. Whatever they were trying with Ishan Kishan, whatever they were trying with Sanju Samson. On the one hand, the selectors and different captains and coaches of the, related to Indian cricket say that we can field 3 teams, 3 white ball teams on any given day and win any tournament in the world. And here we are struggling to find a middle order batsman and a wicket keeper for the biggest white ball tournament in the world. So it's baffling. If obviously they knew that Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul are fighting time, they are injured, and this process should have begun 3 months ago, and here we are, 3 days, waiting. As you said, what's going to change in 3 days?
That's right. And Jimmy, that's why this is painful to watch, and why I'm saying this, that I understand the dilemma that the selectors find themselves in because of how good KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer have been in ODIs, and they sort of zeroed in on these 2 players. But what I'm seeing now is this desperation, really. This need to get both of them back even when they're not fit. If you have to wait for your squad to be announced so that you can include these 2, so that these 2 are given that fitness certificate from the NCA, then there's something wrong in the way you are approaching the tournament. And that's why I say this. Do you think they're right in delaying the announcement for the Asia Cup squad?
Look, I'll have to say they are right only because, like Chetan just said, this was a call that should have been taken at least 3 months ago. Now, 3 months in Indian cricket, in a year in which your cricket is broken, and I've said this many times, it's a long time, And you're right, Maya, the stats that these 2 people were talking about, Yanike Shreyas Iyer or KL Rahul, the stats are impossible to ignore. They are your best number 4 and 5 in one day, and it's very unfortunate, right? Yeah. But like I've been saying, and we've all been saying, why are we still talking about it's unfortunate? Your planning should have had a contingency plan when these 2 players were not there. Only because the seriousness of especially Shreyas Iyer's injury, a back injury, it's on a different level, While I've been saying that he's had the longest time to recover, he still has the most serious injury. So what you've not been able to diagnose or assess up right now, what is 3 days going to do? It can be argued, but then again, based on the stats, based on the fact that, like Chetan just mentioned, those West Indies matches did actually amount to negative, probably, right? I won't say zero. It's probably even worse than zero because, like I said in yesterday's show, you wasted time playing Sanju Samson in those 5 T20s. You should have been playing Ishan Kishan just to see, what more he could offer. It's planning, it's bad luck, it's execution, it's so many factors. But the point is, really, 3 days, what is 3 days going to get you? Name them in the squad if you believe they're 97, 98. Clearly, they're at a spot where they're very close to being passed. If they were 70, 75, I don't think they'd even be in contention. But the fact that now apparently they're waiting, 72 hours, that means they're getting there. Name them and then see what happens. It would not be a crime. It would not be out of the box to name someone and then bring them out later, but it just looks so bad. I just feel it's the worst preparation for any one-day World Cup India has ever had.
I have a slight problem with that. That they are 70 to 75% fit and then you wait for another 2 days for that to be somewhat increased to 80, 85.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying this,
I
Jamie.
don't think they're 75. They're probably 92 to 95.
Then,
I know this is just random numbers I'm throwing.
Absolutely. No,
but
I understand that.
Even then, it's a problem.
They believe they might come.
No, but that's my other problem. That's my other problem, that you are playing these, and we're going to have this conversation at length. You are trying to get these players to play these simulation matches so that they can prove their match fitness. They can prove that they can bat for 50 overs. What my problem is, Jamie, is drafting them straight away into a tournament like Asia Cup to see whether they are fit enough, to see where they stand for the World Cup. That's the other problem. That's exactly, and it's almost deja vu because this is exactly what they did with KL Rahul last year. And see where we are. Okay, but let's set this up. With 14 days left now for the Asia Cup. It starts on the 30th of August. India play their first game against Pakistan on 2nd of September. India are yet to announce their squad for the tournament. Like I said, it's being reported now that the selectors are waiting for KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer to prove their match fitness at the NCA in Bengaluru. Both the players are taking part in match simulations, and there will be a couple of practice matches which will give the selectors some clarity on how they are doing in match environment and whether they are fit enough to be considered for the 50 overs Asia Cup. This is the reason why the selection has been delayed and the squad is expected to be out by 20th of August. So this is where we are in terms of their fitness. Now that's my other question, Jamie, and then I'm going to come to somebody who's put it in perspective, and that is former coach Ravi Shastri. All the complaining around Ravi Shastri, how he was just a manager, how he wasn't really taking some of the big decisions. All of what Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli did just seems so much better. It seems like they really were trying to do something good with this Indian team, especially from where we're standing, Jamie. But yes, coming back to KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer, do you believe that then, they should just wait? I mean, is this the right way? Should they be drafted in even if they are fit?
Again, right, the situation is so dire, it's so desperate. The amount of time that India have invested and are waiting to invest further to see if they're fit means that even if they can walk into the ground, they're going to play, right? I think we should take it player by player, right? KL Rahul has been given a longer rope. He has far more faith from this management than Shreyas Iyer has because of the fact that they see him as their number one wicketkeeper, right? Now, like I've been saying now, in fact, Chetan will remember we were on another show some time ago and he asked me to give him my World Cup 15. At that point, the only person from these three injured players I had in my 15 was Shreyas Iyer. I did not have KL Rahul and I did not have Bumrah. I think this was end of May or first week of June. Because I had a feeling that KL Rahul, even if he does fit, because they want to pigeonhole him into being the keeper batsman, and I know their visuals, we've seen visuals of him diving and keeping, but like we've discussed, sometimes the visuals are given from a different optical illusion perspective. Is KL Rahul perhaps fit enough to come back and bat? I would say probably yes. Do we still see him, and by we I mean the Indian management, Dravid, Rohit, whoever it is, do they still see him coming back after 4.5 months and keeping and batting? I think this is just flawed logic. By all means, play him as a batsman, but to expect him to come back He's been a very, very different player across three formats, Meha, since the pandemic. He's been a shadow of himself. He's looked confused. It's reflected in his ODI strike rate. It's reflected in his T20 strike rate. It's reflected in his test returns. So this is a very, very different KL Rahul that we're talking about. Do you really want to saddle him with the job of keeping wickets in a World Cup year? I don't think so. So by this account, like Chetan said, you blundered in the West Indies series. You should have had your number one keeper locked in by now. I would still put KL Rahul as the second keeper, not on skill, not on reputation, but only because he's not played in a match for like 4 months now. So, yes, very, very important. But if they make the blunder of bringing him in 95% and saying, Bhaiya, keeping bhi kar lo, bad call.
Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to also put this question to you. We are going to put up the team or the Asia Cup squad that's been decided by Ravi Shastri, Sandeep Patil and MSK Prasad, right? They've decided this squad as their squad. Ravi Shastri has given reasons. We are going to get into the reasons and we'll ask Jamie and Chetan whether they agree with those reasons. But if you see that squad, one thing is clear, there is no KL Rahul. And why there is no KL Rahul? This is what Ravi Shastri had to say. Let's put that quote up of Ravi Shastri on why he thinks that KL Rahul should not be part of the Asia Cup squad. And he goes on to say, see, when you're talking of a player like KL Rahul, who's not played and is recovering from an injury, to think of him in the 11 of the Asia Cup, you're asking a little too much of the player himself, and then you're talking keeping. When a guy comes from an injury, the range of movement and things of that sort, so that's a no-no. This is Ravi Shastri saying this. And this is exactly what you were saying, Jamie, as well. That it's one thing that you're batting, but if you're keeping, and I don't think KL Rahul, I mean, he would keep if the captain asked him to, or the team management asked him to, but he's a reluctant keeper. He doesn't keep in IPL. He's not kept for a while, which is the other thing. Chetan, I think he's spot on with what he said about KL Rahul, Ravi Shastri.
Absolutely, and I think earlier I was of the opinion that the team management knows exactly where KL Rahul stands in terms of his fitness, and when that happens, I mean, like Jamie said, perhaps he was more than 95% when they were betting on him coming back and keeping wickets. But now the very fact, as you mentioned, that they're waiting 3 additional days to take a call on his fitness and see whether they can include him in the Asia Cup, it shows that he's not in excess of 95 to 98% when it comes to his fitness, especially when it comes to keeping. It's more on the 85 to 90% side, and then that becomes a big risk. As Ravi Shastri said, and I have to agree with Jamie as well, you can't bring him in and just hope that everything goes well. Batting is fine, yes, he can bat and everything, but obviously that also puts a lot of stress on your lower back in terms of your footwork and your handwork, etc. But the keeping bit with both these players, Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul, it's the fielding bit. Shreyas Iyer is an exceptional fielder. He doesn't field on the boundary. He fields in the 30-yard circle, slip fielder, gully fielder, mid-wicket, covers. He needs to dive and stop those quick singles, take those sharp catches. So you can't really hide him anywhere on the field. The same thing goes with the wicketkeeper. Your wicketkeeper absolutely must be fit. Yes, he's a reluctant keeper. Yes, he's found his niche in ODI cricket as a wicketkeeper batsman. And it was interesting that he did not keep wickets in this IPL because they had Nicholas Pooran. Last year, he did keep wickets in the IPL. So for me, that was really, really interesting that he didn't keep wickets this IPL. So as you mentioned, reluctant wicketkeeper, yes, but he has to be fully fit. And at this point in time, it's just the lack of planning, lack of preparation. You want to take a punt on KL Rahul, that's fine. You can take a punt on his fitness. As Jamie said, you can include him in the squad as a squad player, keep on working on his fitness, bring him up to 100, 105%. But in the meantime, you need to have a backup plan. And what doesn't worry me is what they're trying to do with KL Rahul, because there's still some time to go. Let's be very honest. There's still some time to go. If he's close to 100%, There's still some time to go to get him up to speed, get him up to form, get him up to fitness. But it's the lack of a second option that is worrying me. Ishan Kishan, yes, but where is he going to bat? And then if KL Rahul is not available, who's going to be your second wicket keeper? So it's the lack of the second option that has me worried.
Or is that it? Or do you think that if KL Rahul is not fit, then that obvious choice is Sanju Samson as your backup option? Jamie?
See, but again, that's the issue, right? You can have your options, but by now you should have locked him in, right? And Sanju Samson has his faults. We can go on about that, but I'm saying the fact that people are still believing that that one of India's keepers is going to be KL Rahul, it just gobsmacks me. I've been saying this since June, when he got injured in May. So I've been saying he's never going to keep in the World Cup because to expect him to come back, right? And here, I'm sorry to keep harping on it, but the fact that KL Rahul, when he's been fully fit, has not looked like the KL Rahul of old, that to me has been major red flashing signs, because something is not wrong with this guy. His dipping strike rate, his sheer the arrogance in certain statements, his strike rates don't matter. So even before he got injured and the keeping issue was talked about, there were enough warning signs to me at least that KL Rahul is not the perfect figure that he should be, right? Then he comes off injury. You're right, he didn't keep wickets because Nicholas Poon was there. That just adds to the problem. Like, when did he last keep wickets? Chetan, Jan, Feb, I'm guessing. So that's a long time, right? In a World Cup year.
The Australia series. The Australia ODI series, March.
Okay, March. Again, that's 3 matches. Again, this is the World Cup.
But again, did he play all the matches?
But he didn't. Yeah, he played all 3 matches. Yeah. Okay. He played all 3 matches. But the thing for me is he did not keep wickets in the IPL. Last year he kept wickets in the IPL despite Quinton de Kock available. This time Nicholas Pooran was available, so he chose not to keep wickets. For me, that was a bit weird because he was, I mean, yes, he got injured while playing the IPL, and probably if he had been keeping wickets, he probably wouldn't have gotten injured because he got injured while fielding during the IPL.
Absolutely.
So my point here is he knew that he has to keep wickets for India. He's a keeper batsman for India in the white ball arena. Why did he not keep wickets during the IPL? That was a really, really weird point.
This Chetan Meher, this is what I'm talking about. It just leads to the impression, even before he got injured, that something is not entirely right in the world of KL Rahul. Uske babajood, you banked on him to hold the vital role of keeper batsman in a World Cup year. I'm talking about this flawed thinking even before he got injured. Now that guy who seems to need certain care and attention is coming off a long gap, and you want him to keep wickets in a World Cup.
Yeah.
Flashing lights for me all over. You should have had that second. Be it Samson, be it Jitesh. You should have been testing out people beyond Sanju Samson for very obvious reasons before Chetan says a word. I understand that. But the fact that you've not, it means that, nahi, KL to aa jayega. Bhai, aa bhi gaya to, or you're going to play him as a keeper. Wrong thinking.
Okay.
Rahul Dravid, wrong thinking.
Rahul Dravid? You've cued me to Rahul Dravid's quote then. This is what Rahul Dravid had to say after he was asked about Asia Cup and he was asked about KL Rahul, and this is what he had to say after the final T20I, which India lost. And with that, they lost the series. He said, see, when you're talking of a player like KL Rahul, who's not played and is recovering from injury, to think of him in the 11 of the Asia Cup, you're asking a little too much of the player himself. I haven't really thought about the Asia Cup at this stage. We have a 1-week camp in Bengaluru from August 23rd. We'll be assembling there as a one-day team. We'll take it as it comes. So this is right. This is like the first, this is right after the West Indies series, right? And this is what Rahul Dravid says, that I have not really had the time to think about Asia Cup. What have you been trying all these players for? What are you experimenting all these players for is what I want to know. Obviously, you're looking at the World Cup. Before that, you're looking at the Asia Cup. You are trying to figure out what your squad will be for the Asia Cup, Jamie. I can't even.
If I can just pick up something Chetan said yesterday on another show. This was Rahul Dravid's last T20I series as coach, right? Okay, I mean, it's a fact, right? Because post the World Cup, he's not going to be around, right? So it's just that somehow at the back of his mind, whatever I say, kya farak padega, right? But as someone, and again, we need, like Chetan said, you need to separate what Rahul Dravid was to a generation in the 90s and the 2000s and just get down to Rahul Dravid, the tactician, right? Enough examples. I won't even go there. We've spent enough time talking about it, starting from his captaincy but now even closing in on what, almost 2 years, 18, 20 months, there's enough to suggest or to prove, in fact, that the man's thinking or his gelling with, be it Rohit Sharma, be it Virat Kohli, with everyone, the sector, it's not where we need to be. And again, what are we, 49 days before the World Cup? 50 days, something like that, right? And we're still talking about the same mistakes, the lack of clarity.
Yeah.
These kind of talks, to my mind, should have been dispelled by the time 2022 ended, with that Bangladesh series. There were enough blunders in the lead up to the 2022 Asia Cup and then the T20 World Cup. But, a year on, we're still talking about, Rahul Dravid kar kya raha hai, thinking kyun hai? So if we can sit here in our chairs and our couches and say it, can you imagine the confusion that actually, is in that core circle of Indian cricket?
Yeah.
Blunder after blunder.
Yeah. And
no, but
yes.
But I don't believe his statement, Neha, to be honest, that he's not thinking about the Asia Cup. I don't believe him.
He's saying it.
Yeah, that's fine, but I don't believe him. You can't. The thing is, I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is that not enough Indian journalists travel to the West Indies. It was a very, very easy tour in terms of asking questions or answering questions, to be honest. And the couple of people who are there, we know who they are. I'm not going to take any names. What I'm trying to say is they are in awe. It's a lack of separation of Rahul Dravid, the great player, with Rahul Dravid, the Indian coach. So Rahul Dravid, the Indian coach, can get away with these statements. If there were 10 journalists over there, there can be questions like, what if you're not thinking about the Asia Cup, what are you thinking? Enough journalists, enough media personnel of stature probably who could have asked him this question. So it's a lack of transparency. It's a lack of asking the right questions. It's a lack of respect from Rahul Dravid towards the Indian cricket fans, towards the Indian cricket media fraternity for not answering this question honestly. Because if he's saying this, that he's not thinking about the Asia Cup, if Jay Shah is listening to it, after that lack of batting depth statement, and now he's not thinking about the Asia Cup statement, he should be relieved of his duties before the World Cup.
Oh.
And it is 50 days before the World Cup. And today the ICC posted a photograph of the World Cup trophy in front of Taj Mahal. And Taj Mahal might be a wonder to the world, but in fact, it's what? It's where two people are buried, right? Might as well bury India's World Cup hopes over there as well. If the coach is saying this.
I don't know how to come back from that, but
it's a good one.
But I think Jay Shah should be worried about a lot of other things than this, than what Rahul Dravid is saying. For starters, how are Indian fans going to get to these stadiums to watch the matches? They are renovating the stadiums. I don't see players. I don't see fans, and how they are going to get to these stadiums. Where are they going to stay? Accommodation. I just read a story today how Ahmedabad hotel prices have just gone off the roof. So I don't know how that is going to happen. But let's come back to what Ravi Shastri has chosen as his squad, along with Sandeep Patil and MSK Prasad, two chief selectors, former chief selectors, one coach, former coach of the Indian team. So I like the clarity that they had. I don't know if you guys will agree with me, and if we've got that squad up that we can put. And then we can have this conversation, because one thing that Ravi Shastri said during that interview is, why can we remove this, please, and correct this and come back. But what that shows is that Ishan Kishan is going to be your opener. They all three of these former players have said that they want, if Ishan Kishan plays, Ishan Kishan should open. Then Ravi Shastri goes on to say that he thinks that Virat Kohli could be a good choice at number 4. So we did a bit of digging, our producer, and Virat Kohli does have good numbers. It's not that he doesn't have good numbers at number 4, better than some of the others who've been tried at number 4. But this is what Ravi Shastri had to say. Virat Kohli has to bat at 4. He'll bat at 4 in the interest of the side. You know, there were times I thought of it. Even in the previous 2 World Cups, when I was coach in 2019, I thought I might have discussed that with MSK as well, of him batting at 4, just to break that top-heavy lineup. You know, because if we lost 2 or 3 at the top, we were gone, and it was proved. So just for reaching that, the experience, and if you look at Kohli's record, he is good enough at number 4. That is what Ravi Shastri has said about Virat Kohli at number 4. So two points there. One, him saying that Ishan Kishan, if KL Rahul is not fit, Ishan Kishan should open. And the other, that Virat Kohli should bat at number 4. That's something that they can look to do. Chetan, your thoughts on that?
Meha, just reminds me of a statement before the 2007 World Cup when Greg Chappell came out and said that Sachin Tendulkar has good numbers at number 4. That's why he should bat at number 4. Of course, he has good numbers because the number of matches that he's batted at number 4 are so few compared to his, compared to his matches opening the innings for India, or as in Virat Kohli's case, compared to him batting at number 3. So that because he's a class player, he's going to excel at number 3 or number 4, but the number of matches at number 4 where he could have made an impact for India is far fewer. So it would be a bit of a fallacy to judge him on. And again, the comparison with 2007, your best batsman batting at number 4, where he can only react to the situation, he cannot dictate the situation. And Ravi Shastri is suggesting this only because, I mean, I'm pretty sure it would not have been Ravi Shastri's first idea getting out of the bed, who should be number 4? Virat Kohli, only because for the last 12 years, 3 ODI World Cups running since 2011, since Yuvraj Singh's man of the tournament performance, we have not been able to find a number 4 batsman. So Virat Kohli at number 4, not the worst idea, but should your best batsman be batting at 4 where he's only reacting to the match situation and not dictating terms? I really don't agree with it. I don't.
Can I tell you though, it's a great idea, especially because of the kind of mind space that Virat Kohli is in, Jamie. Not that you and I can, it's not that we know what kind of mind space he's in it, but the sense that one gets from the outside is that he's more interested now in doing everything for the team. He has this, which is what Robin Uthappa also spoke about, that he's sort of gotten over Virat Kohli, the batter Virat Kohli playing for himself, or like he is out there playing cricket for the team. And I feel like that's the mind space he's in. Possibly that's where he should bat. If India really do not have an option at number 4, to just let Virat Kohli bat at number 4.
See, Virat Kohli will do whatever, and again, this is a cliche, we've heard this from countless people, but I think in Virat Kohli's case, it actually applies to him at this phase of his life. He will do whatever is better for the team, right? It's a no-brainer. But again, is someone who's probably, I mean, I still think if he stays fit, he might squeeze in one more one-day World Cup, but there are too many variables. Let's assume this is his last one-day World Cup, right? He knows how important it is, right? Let's say if Virat Kohli is thinking, 30% ke bhai, ye mera last World Cup hai. We've not won it, right? My first time at this tournament, I tasted success. I carried Sachin on my shoulders and I gave us the line of the decade. All that he's been through, I'm sure he's saving up a majority of whatever inner fuel drives him to do outstanding things into getting India into the World Cup final, right? Now, if his plans up till now have been, and I'm sure he makes plans and he sees things, are batting at number 3 where he's got a ton of runs. Why would you, just for the risk, I believe in signs, I believe in, momentum, why would you break what's working for you, right? He struggled for a long time. He finally broke the shackles, got a few hundreds in 1 days, right? IPL was very, very good for him. The dip has come again post the IPL. He's a batsman nowhere near his peak powers. But if there's one format where I at least believe he could do wonders, it's in the one-day format, and it's batting where all his success or most of his success has come, right? And that's number 3. Why would you want to dislodge that? Whatever charm that Ravi Shastri or Prasad or Patil might see, whatever necessity might be the need of the hour, given the fact that Rahul's not around, Iyer's not around, just don't tamper with it, right? Some things don't even need logic. It just chal raha hai, chale do.
But
just don't do it.
It makes sense though. It makes sense what Ravi Shastri is saying. And the thing that I just said, I'm not saying, I hope nobody there, all the Virat fans didn't think that I said, oh, he played for himself and now he's trying to play for the team. That's not what I meant. What I'm trying to say is that he's sort of gone beyond that whole idea of doing anything for himself. He wants India to win. We know he's been talking about it. It's an important World Cup for him as well. Could be possibly his last. So keeping all of that in mind, it makes sense because here is somebody experienced who's done well to be in that position, to give India, what would you say, the strength that they need in the middle order. Because Ravi Shastri is right in saying that it is top heavy. This team is that way.
I mean, if you look at the different ideas that we have at number 4, Ishan Kishan moving down, Shubman Gill moving down, Sanju Samson batting at 4, Suryakumar Yadav batting at 4. It's actually better than that particular idea. I could say that. Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli at number 4. It's better than those ideas. It's only marginally better than Tilak Varma batting at number 4. I would still prefer Tilak Varma at number 4 because A, it gives you that left-hand option, and it's also kind of an option where the opposition teams are taken by surprise. I'm starting to warm up to the Tilak Varma idea now that Ravi Shastri said that. But Virat Kohli at number 4, I would have liked to be in that interview room where Sandeep Patil and MSK Prasad and Ravi Shastri were sitting and talking about this, because honestly, these three gentlemen are to be blamed for the number 4 situation. Sandeep Patil was chief selector, then MSK Prasad was chief selector after him. So that's what, 6-7 years of chief selectors. And Ravi Shastri was coach during that entire time, apart from that 1 year where Anil Kumble took over. So these three gentlemen are to be blamed for this number 4 fiasco, to be very honest. For the last 7 years at least, which covers 2 World Cups, 1
Can I tell you, they still have more clarity right now than the current team management and the selectors.
Exactly, they do. But like I said, it's not the worst idea, but the fact that we are still discussing this, it doesn't give you a great feeling, Neha. It just doesn't give you a great feeling when you have to have a makeshift idea going into an ODI World Cup with your best batsman batting at number 4 when he should be batting higher up and dictating terms to the opposition. Like Jamie said, he can do magical things when he gets going. And I would want to see Virat Kohli do those magical things at number 3 rather than try to do it or replicate it at number 4.
Okay.
Also,
Yes.
Just very briefly, it comes down to what is the requirement of a number 4, right? In the current environment, in the current makeup of things, given how broken this team is, you need your number 4, to my mind, to be someone who can chalao the innings, to use that term, right? From that perspective, yes, Virat Kohli might appear the best option because of his natural game and his success, his adaptability, his flexibility. So there is logic. It's also because there's no other viable option, right?
Yes.
Ishan Kishan averages 21 at number 4. Not an option. Too many dot balls. Sanju Samson not cut out for number 4. Suryakumar Yadav not cut out for number 4. Tilak Varma probably cut out, but again, just too raw. So if you look at it from that perspective, okay, I'll concede probably for lack of options. If you want your number 4 to chalao the innings the way that Shreyas Iyer has been, then there's no better option than Virat Kohli. But then you move him from number 3, where he's done wonderful things. Who's your number 3? There's no viable option. Why tamper?
Yeah.
No, so Rohit Sharma becomes your number 3, doesn't he? Because if Virat Kohli is moving to number 4, that's because Ishan Kishan is opening, and then Shubman Gill, or it's Shubman Gill. So it's either Shubman Gill or Rohit Sharma who bats at number 3. There's nobody else.
Which is problematic.
Tampering it further. That's a problematic, because you're breaking an experienced top order. Now you're making it lighter in experience. You're making it a bit more aggressive, taking on shots. Rohit Sharma likes to play his shots. Shubman Gill likes to play his shots. And let's be honest, Shubman Gill doesn't work on days when the pitch is a bit too paced. Ishan Kishan likes to attack all the time. So what? I mean, we are looking at 10 for 3, 15 for 3, 20 for 3 in the semi-final again.
You still have Virat Kohli to come and stabilize the innings.
I mean,
somebody would say that's better than Virat Kohli and Ishan Kishan coming to save you. But okay. Let's talk about Jasprit Bumrah. And the spotlight will be on Jasprit Bumrah in the India-Ireland T20 as India wait for their leader of the pace attack to come good with the World Cup little more than 7 weeks away. Bumrah has been out of action for almost 11 months. His comeback will be watched by every Indian cricket follower, given how this team has struggled in his absence. Bumrah's presence definitely proves or provides India a distinct edge, but Indian selectors have previously erred in getting Bumrah back too soon after injury. In the rush ahead of last year's T20 World Cup in Australia, the pace spearhead was injured, and that meant he became unavailable for close to a year. That is why the selectors are first assessing whether he can bowl 4 overs a match without any problems before potentially putting him through 10 overs in the Asia Cup and the home ODI series against Australia just before the World Cup. It's not only Bumrah who is vital to India's World Cup plans. Prasidh Krishna is another bowler the Indian team management thinks highly of, and he looks to be a good backup option for India if he impresses with his performance. So, spotlight will be on these two bowlers, no doubt about it. Ireland series is all about seeing whether Bumrah can bowl 4 overs. How impressive will he be, Jamie? How his action is going to be, whether he's going to be, match fit. All of that will be seen. So, in that sense, what are you expecting from this Ireland series, especially with him also captaining this team? And do you see him under being some amount of pressure? Because he also knows how important this is for him.
Look, I think we can all agree that no India-Ireland series has ever been so important, or probably won't be so important, only because just like these 5 T20Is against the West Indies, the spectre of the ODI World Cup is looming so large, right? The sole purpose, practical purpose of this series is to see in those maximum of 12 overs, and I just feel that it might not get to 12 because of the forecast or the predicted rain in Ireland at this time of year. A maximum of 12 overs is not enough to judge in a normal year Jasprit Bumrah's fitness, but given the amount of importance, the reliance that this Indian think tank has on Jasprit Bumrah and the way they're expecting him to come back for the One-Day World Cup, these three T20Is are massive for him. You know, the mechanics, the attitude, the run-up, everything he does, whether it's he's going to be captain, from the toss to the selection to marking his own run-up to setting fields for his teammates to bowling. Those 12 overs are going to be so scrutinized only because there's a World Cup starting in 50 days. Beyond that, there's no real purpose to this. I would have given the series more importance had the Indian team taken these 5 T20s in the West Indies more seriously.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether the Indian team's taking this series seriously because do you guys know who the coach is? Chetan?
I think
do you
the
want to take a
coach
guess?
From the NCA is going, not even the support
Sitanshu
staff for the
Kotak.
Indian team. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think VVS Lakshman decided not to go, but it is going to be big because you'll have we look at India's 8B team or whatever. You look at some of the younger players. You look at Rinku Singh. You look at Tilak Varma is going to be there. There is of course Ruturaj Gaikwad as a vice captain. So there is that bit of looking at how these youngsters perform, but Jasprit Bumrah and the importance of Jasprit Bumrah and Prasidh Krishna to come good in this series. Chetan?
Neha, ideally, we would have been more concerned about Jasprit Bumrah's fitness because obviously he walks into any playing 11 whenever he's fit. The fact that we are actually more focused on 2 batsmen rather than on a star bowler who could actually win us the World Cup, because the last time I remember 2011 World Cup, we had Zahir Khan and we were fretting over his fitness throughout the tournament. Will he stay fit for the entirety of the tournament? And look, I mean, yes, all respect to Ashish Nehra and Munaf Patel, but they weren't the best of white ball bowlers, were they? So India's white ball attack in 2011 was quite weak. It was really carried by Zahir Khan, and Bumrah kind of, if not experienced, at least has that kind of stature. Really, he's a once in a generation kind of bowler.
Yeah.
So we should be really worried whether, he's up to fitness, what is his form, will he be available for the entirety of the tournament? But instead, we are more focused on KL Rahul and Shreyas.
I think that's because it's happening in India and the bulk of your work is going to be done by your spinners. That's another thing. If this World Cup was happening in Australia, trust me, we'd only be talking about Jasprit Bumrah.
If KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer were not available, I mean, we wouldn't be scoring 200 runs in Australia. So
That's true.
any inning. So I mean, see, look, my point is it's about the whole combination of the team really. And right now, India's combination is all over the place. Bumrah, very very important. Like Jamie said, I'm not sure he's going to bowl 12 overs. The good thing that he's captain is because the entire spotlight will be on him. And whatever happens, whether he's not bowling at full tilt, etc., everything will be under focus. If he was not captain, then maybe there would not be any questions asked. If he's not playing a game, if he's only playing 2 out of 3 games. And I also feel they made an error by not making Ruturaj Gaikwad the captain, because he's going to be captain in the Asian Games. So why just Jasprit Bumrah, the captain? So, but again, the good part is that everything will be under focus. You could ask him questions. You can say, oh, why didn't you bowl 4 overs, 3 overs, post-match, pre-match? I hope such questions will be asked. I don't think he'll bowl 12 overs. If he has to bowl 12 overs, then India will struggle against Ireland one day.
Yeah,
but I'm hoping, however many overs he bowls, I hope he bowls at full tilt.
Yeah, which is the other question then, because if India ends up announcing, if the selectors end up announcing Asia Cup squad by the 20th, you're obviously going to either have Bumrah in the squad, irrespective of how he does in Ireland. Similarly, I'm wondering, will it be the same for Prasidh Krishna? Because,
Well, the squads are announced at 11 p.m. nowadays. If you remember.
So on 20th,
the match will be on the 20th. The second
matches
will be over by then. It'll be over by then. So as soon as the match is over, they will say, okay, you know what? It's 11 p.m. Let's announce the team right now. So that's what they do nowadays.
ये भी हो सकता है. So the first match is on 18th. First match is on the 18th and second is on the 20th. That's what Chetan was referring to. And the Indian team is likely to be announced. Asia Cup squad will be announced on the 20th. Okay, now this is something that's been bothering all of us. If you are a cricket fan and you want to come for the ODI World Cup, brace yourself for the craziest experience as you try to figure out your travel, accommodation, tickets for the matches. Not only will you have to break the bank in getting a hotel, booking flight tickets, you still have to wait till the 30th of August to get India match tickets. There is no surety that you will still get it. So you could have booked your hotel and your travel and you may still not get a ticket to the match. But we are still giving you the details of how you can get these tickets. First of all, you have to register yourself. Registration is open. So if you haven't done so, please do it at cricketworldcup.com/register. And then once registered, you'd get all the sale details ahead of the 25th of August date. That's when India matches are those tickets are going to go for sale. To manage the demand for tickets and to give as many fans as possible the best chance of seeing these matches, the tickets will go on sale in phases. 25th August is non-India warm-up matches and all non-India event matches. 30th August is when India matches. Tickets will be sold at Guwahati and Thiruvananthapuram. 31st August, India matches at Chennai, Delhi and Pune. 1st September, India matches at Dharamshala, Lucknow and Mumbai. 2nd September, India matches at Bengaluru and Kolkata. 3rd September, India matches at Ahmedabad. That's the big one. And then 15th September, semi-finals and final. Chetan's going to give us more details because I'm sure he knows exactly what fans should do or at least try to do. So Chetan, this is the right way and you still have to go collect the tickets from the venues, right? Yeah. Tell us.
Absolutely. So the ticket collection window will open a week before the match. So if if the India-Pakistan game on October 14, the ticket collection window will open October 7. So if you're traveling all the way from across the world, either you be there a week before that or you be there a couple of days before, even a couple of days before. I was checking flight tickets last night. It's 20 grand from Delhi to Ahmedabad on October 13. That's the minimum price.
Wow.
And hotel prices are, a hotel which is supposed to be 2,000 rupees a night, that's 25,000 rupees a night. The BCCI has booked out a lot of 5-star hotels for their sponsors, board members, etc. So all the 5-star hotels are not available because the ICC has booked them out. The teams will be staying in 5-star hotels. The broadcast teams from across the world, the BCCI sponsor teams, etc. So, they are available. Some rooms are available, but they're costing 1.5 lakhs for a Sarovar portico or something like that. Vivanta, etc. They won't even be available. So yeah, it's going to be, and not just the match day. I'm talking about. I'm talking about pre-match day, a couple of days before that as well. So if you are an Indian cricket fan or if you are a World Cup fan, I mean, this is where your fandom, your passion for cricket is going to be tested. In terms of, it's not a good thing, mind you. I don't say it with a smile because it's a good thing. I say it because can't really do anything about it. And it's the worst situation possible for fans, really.
This is also the time when if you've been good to your relatives, that'll help. So
yes,
if you haven't
absolutely
been nice to them, it might not work. Start calling up your friends, relatives, whoever, acquaintances, ask them if you can come, but that's only if you get a ticket and if you can book your flights. And that's only for fans here in India. I can't even imagine the ordeal fans coming from abroad would have to face. But over this period, as we build up to the World Cup, we'd get you details for fans. What can they do? How can they get their tickets? And, you know, all the other details around the World Cup right here on this special On Game On. Guys, thank you so much. We are out of time. Jamie Alter, Chetan Nirula, always fun to have you guys on the show. That's it from us. News 9 Live is what you need to subscribe to for all the latest. How do you like our programming? Do let us know in the comment section below. And if you want us to improve, if there are any comments, anything you think we should do, put that also in the comment section below. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Chat GPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control them.